jumping. No, too far. Oh, too small. Too big. Too small. You can't land on it. Well, there's a precise way to do this. You can actually, if you just type 2, like right now while you're in trace, hit 2, it'll substitute the exact value x equals 2. Hit enter, and bingo, 48.6. You're done. Okay, so you can put 48.6 there. Jot down any notes you need to remember that. You hit trace, you actually can type in the exact x value. It's great. Let's say I wanted to get what happens when you put in like x equals 100. You know, it's way off the chart, but it's going to work, right? So you go to trace, and if you type in 100, put it in there, enter. Oh, error, invalid. This trace option actually only works for the values of x that are within this window. So if you put in an x that's outside the domain of this particular window, it won't work. So I can put in 10. I think 10 fits, right? Do I have 10? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can probably fit 10 in there. So let's try 10. So we're going to delete, 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 and put in 10 under trace mode, and there, gave it to me, 335. So as long as it's within the window, you're okay. As soon as you get out of it, not so much. Next option, table ask. Okay, you're gonna transform your calculator a little bit. There is this option above graph called table. And the settings to mess with the table are over here a little to the left, table set, right above window. So we are going to go to table, second graph, and if you look inside there, you should see x, maybe a big long list of x's, and you should see y1. And if you haven't typed your function into y1, then your table would not have a y1 in it. You have to have it in there. It has to be turned on. Okay, there it is. Mine is in a certain mode where it stops. Yours might have a really, really long list that keeps going. But that's controlled under the table settings. If I'm going to hit second window, okay, second window to hit table settings, you want to set yours up to look like mine. You want your independent to be ask. Independent, remember, is your x, your input variable. We want that to be ask. That means that the computer will ask us for an input. Dependent, you want to be auto, so it spits out an answer automatically. So I'm going to go back to my table. So get your remember, second table set, go here, make yours look like mine. Independent, ask, dependent, auto. This will be helpful for quite a while after this. Later on, we may change it to have independent and as auto, and I'll explain that when the time comes. But go back to table. Now your x is a place where you can type in anything you want. Type in 5, boom, hit enter. Put in 6, good. Put in that 100 that was elusive before. We couldn't do it in trace mode, but you can do it here. Put in 300, whatever makes you happy. So this is a nice place to enter in a whole lot of input values and see what you get. The one that it's asking for on our sheet is f of negative 3.4, so you can type in negative 3.4. Remember to use the negative, not a minus, and enter 72.36. That's the output you get, 72.36. Okay? Anytime you guys want to go back on these videos, just pause it and rewind, whatever you need to do to get this. Just be bold and ask. Next option, it says function notation. We're going to do 107. Now I can do it on here and type in 107. 107 in my table. And we get out, what is that, 34,363. Now I'm going to show you another way to do that. If you go second quit, get to the home screen. So second quit, go to the home screen. We can actually do function notation, but it's going to be y1 instead of f, because that's where we've stored our function. So ours is going to be y1. And remember under vars, so you go to the home screen, you hit vars and yvars and function, and it prints y1. You hit enter on y1 and it prints it. Okay, I'll do it again. At the home screen, go to vars, go over to y variables, you hit enter on function and y1, and it prints y1 wherever your cursor happened to be at the time. If you put parentheses afterward and put in a number like 107, it will input 107 into the function y1, just like we've been doing before, and there's that same response. Now, that's a little different answer than what we had before, wasn't it? Didn't we just have a 3 on the end? Well, the table likes to truncate your answers, but if you go up to the table when we put 107 and you get on top of the number, it'll show you the whole number, but the table itself truncates or rounds things for you. So that's one disadvantage to the table, and one advantage to doing function notations. You get the whole decimal answer to a certain number of decimal places. That's it. So there's just a little update on how to get values by plugging them into your calculator. You want to sit now and write down any notes you need to remember those. They all have their advantages. You want to know how to do all of them and use them at a later date. The next order of business that we're going to transition to, the moment you've been waiting for, is you're going to take that test. So it's Skills Test 0. It's sitting on the desk, my desk up there. So if you can help out our sub to get those handed out. You do not get to use the calculator at first, so put them away first, all your calculators. But you can pull them out. On the back side, it says you can use your calculator for a section of solving. If you don't have a calculator, don't panic. You don't really need one. What will happen is you will have the quadratic formula at some point, guaranteed. And you can use it for that if you want to get a decimal, but you don't have to. In fact, it might be better if you ended up with, like, in your results, square root of 13, leave it square root of 13. Square root of 27, leave it the square root of 27. So don't go crazy and get some decimal if you don't have to. That's it. You're sitting in groups, and so I know we're sitting on top of each other with these desks, but your eyes are on your own paper and just being as helpful as you can. A fun group, so enjoy. Remember, if you don't get a 90%, I'll come after you, and you'll have to take it again anyway. If you want to retake it because you got a 91% fine, you can do that. I think I'll have a limit on how many times you can take it, but if you want to do that, that's just fine. This is just a gateway, that is. You need to have these no matter what. When you're done with that gateway, that test, so that's on there, you're going to hand it in at my desk. There's a tray sitting there for you to drop it in, and pick up some jelly beans, pull the Stormtrooper hands, grab some jelly beans. We need to empty those out. And then you want to pick up one of these. It says 12 basic functions. Should be 4 pages worth. They're really tiny, or 3 pages worth on 2 sides. They're really tiny. And do your best to address these questions. You can use your calculator. You can Google stuff. You can use the books that are in one of my cupboards next to my filing cabinets. So if you open those up, grab a pre-calc book and look it up. But you need to come up with what these functions are, what their domain and range are, any investigative material you can come up with. Look around the rest of the sheet. I don't know if I have it written somewhere. But that's your job, is to do what you can with that and graph it and have fun. Email too, if you have questions. You should be all set up with Google Classroom. I'm going to send out put up some new things on there tonight or tomorrow that you can check out. And then and don't forget my math lab for you guys is posted and waiting. I think it's due Thursday night at midnight. And questions on that, you want to start getting to me with those early. I got a couple emails. Thank you to those who did that. Keep up the good work. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'll tell you all about our exciting trip to the doctor's office. I'm sure it's going to be completely boring. See you soon.